Hello everyone. I welcome all of you to another session of MMPYQ. We will be continuing with our journey and today we will be discussing another question of agriculture. If we look, today's question, it is based on cropping pattern. Cropping pattern is given directly in our syllabus. Okay, so major crops, cropping pattern in various part of the country. This thing is directly mentioned in our syllabus. Okay, if we look the previous year questions also, then very regularly question from this part has been asked. Okay, so we will see that question on crop diversification, uh, rice wheat centric system of India. Okay, these kind of question has been asked. Okay, so it's a very important part our syllabus and it has been continuously asked. Okay, so directly going into the question, that it says that explain the changes in cropping pattern in the context of changes in consumption pattern and marketing condition. Okay, so basically directive word here is explain. Okay, so whatever thing is given, a sentence has been given, we have to simply explain this statement. Okay, we have to explain now what do exactly we have to explain. Okay, so we have to explain the changes in cropping pattern. Okay, in the context of changing consumption pattern and marketing conditions. Okay, so before answering this question, you need to have some background information. Okay, because if you do not have that background information, then the understanding of question will not be complete and it will actually reflect in your answer also. Okay, so as we know that India adopted green revolution in 1960s. Okay, so rice and wheat. Okay, first it was adopted in wheat and then it was in rice. Okay, so we have promoted rice and wheat as the main food crops. Okay, so at that time our main challenge was of food security. So for food security we needed food grains. Earlier we were importing it. Okay, so after green revolution we became self dependent and we have been growing these crops. Okay, but there has been some negative consequences also related. Okay, because if diversity in cropping, basically crops, is not there, specifically environment has been actually affected a lot. Okay, so that is the background basically which you need to know, and question in previous year question basically also have been asked. So that is the background thing we needed. Now we need to understand that was the cropping pattern, but recently if you see, like last 10-20 years, this pattern is actually changing. Okay, now there are several determinants of cropping pattern. One definitely is agroclimatic zone. Okay, basically agroclimatic condition in which crop is being grown, soil is there. Okay, so these are the basically geographical or the natural factors, but there are other factors also, like government policy is there. Okay, technology is there. Okay, so these are the things. Similarly, two things which have been given in this question: consumption pattern and marketing condition. These are also very important pattern, or basically determinants of cropping pattern. Okay, so that is the all background information which we needed to answer this question in a comprehensive manner. Okay, so we will now directly go to our introduction part. Okay, now what can be the introduction? So basically we can introduce it basically through a definition. Okay, so cropping pattern is basically the combination of crops grown by farmers in a particular area. Okay, in a period of time. Okay, so it's a basically combination of crops grown by the farmers in a particular area in a period of time. Okay, so that is the definition you can use in your introduction. Okay, then you can also extend this introduction by saying that there are various determinants of basically various determinants of cropping patterns are there. Okay, so determinants of cropping pattern, and you can mention like 4-5 things. So natural factors you can mention, like agroclimatic reason, basically agroclimatic conditions of particular area, then government policy, technology is there, availability of infrastructure is there. Okay, so all these things are there, and you can also mention these two things, consumption pattern and the marketing conditions. Okay, so through this also, like if you do this, then it will give a very, very good linkage to the body part. Okay, so now we will go into our body part. Okay, so now basically structuring what we can do is we can divide our body into two parts. Okay, in one part we have to write about the changing consumption pattern. Okay, and in the second part which we will see after the first part, we will go for the marketing conditions. Basically these will be the two broad headings which you will be giving in your answer. Okay, and within these headings we will be giving our points. Now we will go to the changing consumption pattern. Okay, so one point which we could write here is of promotion of organic farming. Okay, so nowadays we know that organic farming is being promoted by the government also. It is also adopted by the farmers. Why? Because it is environment friendly. Okay, plus in traditional agricultural practices we use a lot of chemicals. Okay, insecticide, pesticides. Okay, so and these are actually excessively used and they are harmful for our health. Okay, so people who can actually afford, okay, who are health conscious, basically prefer the organic products. Okay, and this is basically seen world over. Okay, not only in India, but it is seen that world over, especially in developed countries, high income groups, organic food products are being preferred by the people. Okay, so here you can give the example of Sikkim. Okay, Sikkim has like fully adopted this organic farming. Okay, so that will be your example. uh, Now, other point can be demand for high value crops. Okay, high value crops means like fruit and vegetable. These are more high value than the traditional food grains, basically rice, wheat, and these kind of food grains. If we compare, these are more high value. Okay, so changing, basically a lot of changes in urban areas, rapid urbanization and all is happening. Okay, and in also in rural areas also demand for these kind of fruits and vegetable is also increasing. Okay, newer kind of vegetables and all also being or fruit also are being actually introduced in India. Okay, like broccoli and all, we are see that earlier it was not very much prevalent in India, but now it is being consumed by the people. Okay, so you can write this thing here. Our next point can be changes in diet pattern. Okay, so we see because of sedentary lifestyle, non-communicable diseases like cardiovascular diseases and all are increasing, okay, and a lot of air and water pollution is also there, okay. So now people are preferring to receive more nutritious diet, okay. So diet which is more rich in protein, which is more rich in vitamins, minerals, okay. So these things are now being preferred, okay. So you can write this point in here also, okay. Changes in diet pattern. Next point can be livestock sector in India basically is booming, okay. So if we see the growth rate of livestock, that will be somewhere like 7 to 8%. Overall agricultural growth is 3 to 4%, okay. But the livestock sector is growing at 7 to 8, like double of general agricultural growth, okay. So it is booming in India. Now their feed requirement is there, okay. Feed and fodder requirement is there of the animals. Due to that, okay, so to meet this requirement, basically these are also grown in our fields, okay. So you can give example like maize, okay. So it is used as a feed and fodder, okay. So that is being used. So going to the next point, very niche areas are there, okay. So like biofuel production is there, okay. So we are now becoming more environment friendly, okay. So newer sources of energy are being discovered, okay, or being promoted by the government, okay. So biofuel production is there, okay. So their particular scheme, PMG1 scheme is there, okay. So this scheme basically promotes the biofuels. So there are various kind of crops which are used for biofuel production, okay. So one is like our sugarcane. So it's one of the byproducts bagasse, okay, that is used as a biofuel, okay. So this will actually also give diversity to your answers, okay. So the last point like this biofuel production or the feed and fodder requirements, these are little bit different, okay, and try to always make your points little bit diverse, okay. So one type of or similar type of points will not fetch you good marks, okay. So you will be remaining in the average quality marks, okay. So try to think little bit more and try to include more diverse points, okay. uh, then we can write that urbanization, the rapid urbanization process is leading to changes in basically consumption pattern, okay. Why? Because there is a demand of processed food, okay, because people living in urban areas, they are more busy, okay. So ready to eat kind of things are very much required, okay. So these kind of processed food are required. Now this is basically leading to cropping pattern changes, okay. With focus would be on like more on our fruit and vegetables, okay. So you can write this point here also. So with this, first part of the body is over, okay. Now we need to go into the second part, that is marketing conditions, okay. Now what kind different kind of things which we can cover here in marketing conditions. So basically marketing condition means that different kind of channels which are being used, okay, and the entire it also includes the entire supply chain from farm to fork, okay. So entire supply chain, whatever comes, number of intermediaries is there, okay, different kind of infrastructure is there, like warehouse, cold chain, everything, these kind of things come under this heading, okay, marketing conditions. So first point here we can write off government policy, okay. So we know that role of MSP has been there in promoting the production of rice and wheat, okay. But now government is focusing that the procurement system based on MSP is also diversified, okay. So it is in recent years focus has been on pulses, oil seeds. Okay, so if farmers are getting price assurance, okay, from the government and also procurement from the government, they will be more ready and incentivized to grow these crops. Okay, so definitely it will lead to changes in cropping pattern. What other point which we can write is uh, availability of export opportunities. So with globalization, Indian economy is much more integrated into the global economy. Okay, so now different kind of free trade agreements and everything we have signed with other countries. Okay, so it has been seen that different kind of crops now are being, basically food grains and other things are being exported. Okay, one example which you can give is of basmati rice. So India exports a lot of basmati rice, okay, in Middle East and in other parts of the world also. Okay, so you can write these two things. Next thing which we can say is that availability of infrastructure. Now the focus of government is has been on basically on making infrastructure of India as world class. Okay, so infrastructure related to the agricultural produce has also been promoted, like cold chains, okay, warehouses. So availability of these kind of infrastructure actually makes the possibility of growing different kind of crops. Okay, so basically fruits and vegetables, they are perishable in nature. So if we don't transport these crops in a proper manner, okay, in refrigerated conditions, then they will actually perish. Okay, so there will be loss for will be there. Okay, so farmers won't grow them until and unless availability of these kind of infrastructure is there. Okay, so here you can give example of like Kisan Rail. Okay, Krishi Udan is there. So under Kisan Rail, we have refrigerated vans and all these things are being made available. Okay, so now farmers will be incentivized to grow the fruits and vegetable and different kind of perishable products. Other point we can write of food processing. Okay, so government is promoting food processing a lot. Okay, in the form of FDI is there, one umbrella scheme PM Sampada is there, formation of food producer organization. Basically this is a collective of farmers. Okay, so they are being promoted or they are being incentivized for basically doing some kind of value addition to their crops. Okay, so you can write the point of food processing. Okay, the next point which we can mention is of the role of private sector. Okay, so within this we can mention contract farming. Okay, so basically contract farming there is a contract between the farmers and the private company. Okay, which provides different kind of inputs like seeds and everything. Okay, technology, all these kind of inputs are being provided and assured procurement from the private companies also there. Okay, so farmer get incentivized to grow crops which the basically company wants. Okay, so here you can give example of PepsiCo. Okay, okay, so like in Punjab it is growing like tomato, in Gujarat potato is there. Okay, all these things are done under the contract farming. The other role of private sector here comes in the form of e-commerce. Okay, so farmers are getting a newer way basically to market their products, which is incentivizing them to grow different kinds of other crops also. Okay, so here you can write any kind of startups or apps which are being in there. Okay, so this is the major points which we need to write in our body part. Okay, so coming to the conclusion part, uh, we can suggest basically a very simple conclusion, as well as basically it should be also a suggestive one. Okay, so giving some direction. So what we can say that cropping pattern adopted by in India should align with our economic, and environmental needs. Okay, so basically there are the two pillars which we need to keep in mind while deciding the cropping pattern. Okay, one is economic needs. Okay, so definitely we want the food and nutritional safety and security, plus whatever the changes which is happening in economy, it should also meet those changes. Okay, and whatever production of agriculture produces there, it should be sustainable in nature, so that resources like land, water, they are not over exploited. Okay, and all the stakeholders, government, farmers, as well as private sector should do the needful things. Okay, so that will be all for the today's session. I think we have covered all the two parts of the question in a comprehensive manner and also given a conclusion. If you have liked the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. In the next session, we will be covering the remaining question of agriculture. Thank you.